an emphatic win against Carlton, but there's still lessons to be learned. Let's get into it. So again, if you're not subscribed, please do. It would mean a lot. I'm trying to hit 10,000 before the end of the year / end of the season. I can see my subscribers slowly going up, so these messages must be working, and I just appreciate you all, and it means the absolute world to me. But look, let's get into lessons learned for this game. So here I've got written down 5 lessons learned, and some of them positive. There's one semi-positive, maybe a bit of a negative. But it was an insane win against Carlton. Watch my review if you haven't already. It was a litmus test, and we passed it. We passed it with flying colors. We're getting those sort of credentials that we had last year. We're starting to get them back after a really shit start to our year. But look, the first lesson is we are the tackling pies now. So at the start of the season, those 3 games that we lost in a row, we went 0-3 before the Brisbane game. Our tackling wasn't too bad. Our biggest loss in this season so far was -21 in tackles. That was to Sydney, who just out pressured us, out muscled us. The Giants we sort of kept with the Giants, and then St Kilda sort of did the same thing. They just sort of over pressured us. So we had a really bad start to the season. We weren't seeing that classic pies pressure or the pressure pies. And that's what a lot of people were sort of questioning. And then the Brisbane game happened. And when that Brisbane game hit, we were plus 32 in tackles. And I didn't get into inside 50 tackles, but in just normal tackles, plus 32 against the Lions. And then we're starting to say, okay, cool. The pressure pies are back, and we're starting to see that sort of ball rolling. So in the last 5 games, including this Carlton game, we are plus 102 in tackles compared to our opponents. So yes, the other day's game against Carlton, we were plus 34, which is our highest this year, which is off the charts. That's incredible. You're not going to lose a lot of games when you're just out muscling the other team. And we were plus 13 in inside 50 tackles for that game as well. So that gives us the best chance at getting free kicks inside or stopping the ball inside our forward 50. So we have gone to, I feel like anyway, the game plan has changed a little bit. And we have gone to another level where tackling, even though we were good at it the last couple of years, we're just pressuring a little bit more now. We're just tackling a little bit more ferociously. We're tackling when we can. And we're trying, I don't see a lot of people breaking too many tackles because we're getting 2-3 guys in a game tackle to take down one player. And that we weren't seeing that a lot at the start of the season. So we're seeing it a lot more now, and be prepared to see it for the rest of the season. The second lesson I learned from the Carlton game is that we've unearthed some gems. And I'm talking about Lockie Sullivan. I'm talking about Harvey Harrison. And I talked about them in my review as well, but they just need another mention again. Like, Sullivan had 8 score involvements, the most on the ground, and he was only on the ground for 3 quarters, 5 tackles, 4 clearances, did a couple of nice things, kicked that really nice goal. And this guy has been in the VFL for so long, just toiling his trade because he's getting missed at drafts for 8 years. It just goes to show you that the VFL has some really, really amazing players that just don't get picked up through the national draft. And that's why the mid-season draft is so amazing. You got to look at Jai Newcomb from Hawthorn. Even Ash Johnson, Carmichael, I know they're not getting a lot of games, but they're still really good players. Not Oscar Steen, Aiden Begg as well was mid-season. So who knows who we're going to pick up this mid-season draft? Could be Ned Long, could be Jack Hutchinson. Who knows who we're going to pick up? But it could be very interesting. But even Harvey Harrison, we saw a little bit of him last season as more of a sort of deeper, smaller forward. He's put on a little bit of muscle now. He's running a lot more. He's been dominating in the VFL. He comes into the team last week as a super sub. Now he comes into the team for a full game. And he did some really cool things, just like handballing, his vision, kicked a goal. He set up the Sullivan goal. He set up the Josh Dacos goal. And he's up and down the ground. He's in the forward line. He's in the back line. With no Beau McCreary and no Lockie Schultz next week, Harvey Harrison is going to play a major role. And I just want to know who's the next one from our VFL crew to step up. I do really want it to be Finn. I really do want it to be Finn. But I know that we've got some absolute gems in the VFL just biding their time to take their chance. And Harvey and Lockie just grabbed it with both of their hands. The third lesson I learned is Checkers needs help. Now, this is probably an obvious lesson, but Jacob Wiedering, oh my God, I can't say his name properly. Jacob Wiedering had Checkers' measure for the whole game. And that's fine because Wiedering is an amazing defender. And Checkers, just can't do everything. He can't do everything. He came into the team in 2018 as a premiership fullback, right? From Port Melbourne. And we chucked him into the forward line, and he's just been bruised from batter to post or goalpost to goalpost. He's just been beat up every single week because he is our big key forward. And Checkers isn't that big key forward, and that's why we miss Dan McStay so much. And I don't know who really can help him out. Cox doesn't really play that role too much anymore. Will Hoskin-Elliott did a couple of weeks ago, but he's not the answer going forward. Is it Ash Johnson? Is it Nathan Kruger just as a big-bodied forward? Like, we're missing Dan McStay so much, but Checkers needs all the help he can get because when Checkers is on fire, he's on fire. He kicked 3-3 last week and 2 out on the full, so 3-3-2. This week just didn't get a look at it because he's always going to get the best defender, and that best defender was Jacob Wiedering. The best defender is, when we're playing GWS, it's Sam Taylor. So he's always going to get the best defender. We need a second Foley to him. And the forwards that we have at the moment aren't those guys. We need McStay back, or we need to maybe chuck Nathan Kruger in there when we're going up against a back line that is really solid, like Carlton's were. The fourth lesson I learned is that we still kick ourselves out of games. In the last, not including the Carlton game, the 2 weeks prior, we kicked 21 points against Essendon, I'm pretty sure. 21 points against Port Adelaide, like 18 points against Essendon or something like that. And this week against Carlton, in that third quarter, we missed a lot of easy set shots where we could have put the game to bed. Then they go on and kick 3 or 4 goals, or I think it might have been 4 goals in a row to take the lead back. It's the bread and butter of football, and I get it. The pressure. Nick Dacos, at the end of the game, when he was getting interviewed, he said, people were missing shots all day, so it sort of gets nervous, and the pressure is just shifted to you, and then you have the pressure to kick, and thankfully he bloody scored the goal. But in that third quarter, when we were all just missing, it just does get so much, and it puts pressure on the next guy, then the next guy if he misses, then the next guy if he misses. We just have to convert our chances, and we could have beaten Essendon last week if we had done that. We could have beaten Carlton by more this week if we had done that. That's not to say they did miss a couple of shots as well, but we have a habit of, one, not putting the teams to the sword, and 2, missing chances that we need to get. So that's something that we definitely have to work on. I don't know if it's a goal kicking issue. I don't know if it's, between the ears sort of issue, but that's definitely something that we need to work on. The last lesson I learned is that we're learning lessons. And I say that because against Essendon, we knew that they were going to come in. They're one of the best stoppage clearances teams. They're one of the best clearances teams, scoring from clearances. And we just didn't do enough work on them. They were dominating us through clearances. That's where, they nearly won the game. You look at that last quarter, and they nearly, they just kept running it out from the center, running it out from the center. And then we've come up against Carlton, who are, I think, the best at stoppage clearances and just clearances in general, if I remember correctly. And that was my sort of thing going in. Like, they've got a stacked midfield who can push it to a stacked forward line. We're going to have to be on song, and they dominated Geelong in the clearances and all this sort of stuff. But then we're 26 plus 26 inside 50s. We're +4 in clearances. Then the sort of tackles comes in, and we just beat Carlton at their own game. So we learnt the lessons from not doing it properly against Essendon. We learned to set up better. You can see that Pendlebury nullified Cripps at almost every stoppage. He just absolutely nullified Cripps, especially in that last quarter. And we learned those lessons from the Essendon game, and we took him into that Carlton game, and we'll take him into next week when we play the Eagles as well. So there's a lot of things to like, and like Craig McRae said, this is just a work in progress. It's not going to be just a quick fix. There's going to be times where we lose more games, where we win by even more. But there's all of these lessons to be learned. And as long as we're learning them week by week, we're going to put ourselves in the best position to qualify for finals and then hopefully take it one further. But look, guys, that's just been my lessons learned for the game versus Carlton. Let me know your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, Tay family, Tay friends, Tay pets. And until next time, Double Shaggers. I'll swoop you later.